continues to amaze me that people would want to watch what it is that we're doing around here. But I do just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for all of the support. And we hope to be able to continue to bring the content your way. What do you got? What is it? Apple pie.
Hasn't been baked yet, though.
Oh, it's good. But we got some apples for free, and Teal's making up some apple pie. So let me show you. So we got all these for free. A couple of days ago, I put out a community post about a homestead scenario where you had one animal that was 5 years of age to choose from between pig, lamb, chicken, or cow, and you could only choose one of those animals for your 2-acre homestead. Which animal would you choose? We had 488 votes come in, and the breakdown was 64% of you said chicken, 19% chose pig, 12% chose a sheep or lamb, and 5% chose a cow. And a couple of people actually wanted to have a goat. However, that didn't factor into the percentages. Understand this is your scenario. There's nothing right or wrong about anybody's answer, but I did tell you that I would let you know what I was going to choose. And this is purely based on the way that I'm thinking on my hypothetical imaginary homestead. I looked at it from the standpoint of like 4 things, really. One being yield. So if I had to butcher that animal tomorrow, what would I yield to be able to feed my family? All of these animals are 5 years of age, which puts them in the category of being kind of long in the tooth, not really probably the highest quality of meat. So any of those animals could be butchered and ground up or, cooked in a very special way to make them somewhat desirable to eat. But I'm looking at it purely from a yield standpoint. So I broke it down, whereas cow was number 1, pig number 2, lamb number 3, chicken came in dead last, of course, being the smallest of those 4 choices. The next was I wanted to be able to manage my land, my property. I have 2 acres of property. And in my hypothetical thinking, it's probably going to be pasture land. So I'm probably going to choose a ruminant of some sort, either a lamb or a cow. And so for me, in that aspect, it was almost kind of a toss-up between lamb or cow. But given the fact that I only have 2 acres, it probably would have been a little bit less hard on the land itself if I were to have chosen the lamb. So I did go with the lamb. However, lamb will eat some of the things that I don't want them to eat that a cow won't eat, which, again, it could have been a toss-up in that regard. Chicken number 3, pig dead last. A pig would, in my way of thinking, would be pretty much a disaster on a small piece of property like that, out on pasture, doing what pigs do, which is rooting things up. Also, I did want to have something that was going to graze the pasture down, just from the standpoint of the way that I think, given the fact that where I live, we deal with wildfires a lot. So I'm going to want to manage and mitigate that risk. And so, again, that's where the ruminants come into play for me. Plus, it's also a great feed stuff for those animals. So it lessens the amount of feed that I would have to actually put into those animals. And depending on how much rain you get, how good is your pasture, they could do pretty well. Lamb could do pretty well on 2 acres with minimal inputs. Same with a cow, depending on how well your pasture grows. The next consideration that I have is from a predatory standpoint. Predation is a real issue on my property currently. We've got foxes, we've got coyotes, we've got bobcats, we've got things that want to eat animals. And so from my standpoint, again, it's probably a toss-up between a pig and a cow. So I gave it to the cow, just given the fact that we've raised cows on this property since we've been here for 22 years. And, it's never an issue. Calves, never an issue. The mothers take care of it, just like a pig would do. But again, it was a toss-up for me in that, and I gave it the cow the nod, and pig number 2, lamb being 3, and chicken, again, coming in dead last because everything likes to eat chicken. Whether it's on the ground or in the air, everything wants to eat a chicken. So from the standpoint of managing, predators, that's a real concern of mine. And then the last one that I scored, I guess, in my own head was palatability. How much do I actually like to eat the thing that I'm keeping on my property from a desirability standpoint? And to my palate, there's nothing of any of these 4 animals that goes higher to the list than a grass-fed, grain-finished beef cow. I mean, that's my preference, with the exception of bacon is pretty cool. I mean, I got to give the nod to bacon, but there's just not enough of it. So the kind of how I break it down is cow first for me, pig would be number 2, lamb coming in 3rd, and then chicken is my least favorite of those four meats. Another consideration that I might have would be just infrastructure, and again, on my hypothetical property, infrastructure for me is already in place, in the way that I'm thinking. So if it were not, that could change the equation potentially, because it's going to be a lot easier to get up and running with a chicken, right? You could go down to Tractor Supply and buy you something and be up and running like the next day, or build you something, be up and running the next day. Cows takes a little bit longer. Pigs, obviously, animals that require a little bit more effort to contain. That's going to change the scoring, but I didn't actually put that into the equation. But that's kind of how I broke it down. For me, if I actually wrote down some scores here. I'm looking at a board that I had put up. How it broke down for me is the chicken scored dead last with a total score of 15. It was a tie between the pig and the lamb with the score of 10. And the cow was the clear winner, in my opinion, coming in at the lowest score of 5. Where the goat came in, I don't know, because I didn't score the goat. Thanks for participating, and understand that there's no right answer, no wrong answer. It's just however you want to set it up, and everybody's a winner on their own homestead. So thanks again.